What's going on, guys? We are back for Peak 9 in Project Wild Summit. Now we're out of Elite exped on our way to Ben Nevis, the tallest mountain in Scotland and the entirety of the UK as well. What's gone on here is my GoPro mic has broken, and as you will see in the video, the weather gets so bad I've got nothing else to record with. I'd usually record with my DJI, but the weather was nowhere near suitable for putting that out in those conditions. So we've got a few clips of the journey from breakfast at the place where we were staying to the car park where we parked basically, and the journey up to the summit of the mountain. And as you will see, the weather, it just goes through so many different stages. The wind was forecast at high 40s, low 50s. I think we got about 48 miles an hour was the highest we had in our trip. And yeah, believe me, that wind with hail and rain, it feels like you've been shot in the face. It is not fun at all. But there were 35 of us who were on the mountaineering course with Elite and Nomad mountaineering as well that were there. And yeah, really knowledgeable, great bunch of leaders in this. So we split up into smaller groups, and as you can see, the cloud visibility, the visibility due to the clouds, it starts to get quite bad, and a little bit of snow starts to pop out. It was quite mild, so the snow really wasn't there until we were about at 1,000 meters. I had to get my glasses out because the weather was just getting worse and worse. We stopped to put our crampons on. This was the first time I've been working around with crampons, and really game changer. Everything was just so much easier, like moving around, going up. It was just so much less effort. And you can see my beard and hair all froze at the summit. What's going on, guys? Thank you for watching that little short video. It's normally it is quite a bit shorter than my usual vlogs of Project Wild Summit climbing each peak. But yeah, I was not prepared for the weather in any way in terms of getting content. As I say, my GoPro mic was broken, and I ended up breaking the back screen as well in that journey, and also my DSLR also broke in that journey as well, where it was so wet. I'd never been in rain in like that in my life. It wasn't in the video, the rain, but it was horrendous. But when we got to the top, the temperature dropping so much, everything was freezing. Everything in the bag froze. So the moisture was getting into the camera, into the battery terminal, and then everything froze, which caused chaos for my camera. I have put a new battery in it, and it is finally started to work after drying it out for days. So we're back with that. Anyway, back to the weekend, or the 3-4 days with Elite. Flew out Friday morning, early hours. Got there, picked up from the airport by Elite. I think it was 11 o'clock. Went back to where we were staying. It's like this massive house where they do like normal activities. My cat is trying to jump up here. What are you doing, Loki? You weirdo. Right, will he photobomb? We'll find out. Anyway, so we got there, we did the introductions, kind of like the icebreaker kind of thing, meeting everyone who was in the course. It was like a whole range of people. Again, 35 people on the course. And it was a beginner's mountaineering course, but from the people that were there was such a massive variety, from people who had never hiked in their life to people that had done some of the 7 summits, Amadablam, like right up there. And then obviously we had TJ, who was the overall expedition leader, who is the youngest Brit to climb all 14 8,000 meter peaks. So he's got a massive wealth of experience that he had to offer us, and very incredibly knowledgeable regarding the mountains. So yeah, we did that. Then we went out and then did some cold water therapy out in the loch, because where we were staying is right on the edge of the loch. So got in the water. I love being in like cold water, like lochs, lakes, whatever. I love being in it. I don't mind the cold. I will float around and be absolutely fine. And then we went from there. Then we went to the sauna and then stayed in there for a little bit. Then went back out into the loch and then kind of repeated that a couple of times. And it is incredibly, incredibly good for you. You feel energized. You just feel great in yourself. I had never done cold water therapy from the aspect of going from cold to hot, back to cold to hot. I've always just done cold, get out, dry off, and get moving. So it's a really nice way to start the expedition. Then we were due to be climbing Ben Nevis on Sunday, but the weather was so bad in terms of what was forecast. The leaders of the expedition, along with Nomad as well, they came to a collective decision that we should summit on Saturday, because the weather on Sunday was forecast for 80-mile-an-hour winds and gusts of 105, and they were like, no way are we taking 35 people up on the mountain on that. One of the leaders, ex-military, he was like 95 kilos, and he was like, look, once you get to about 50 mile an hour, that is putting me on my ass. And he was like, I'm quite a big guy and I know what I'm doing, so we don't want to be taking you out in stuff which is going to be more than that, when I wouldn't even go out in that. So yeah, we went out on Saturday instead to do that. And again, the weather was just extreme, like the wind, the rain, the hail. It was snowing at the top, and it was just, I've never been anything like that. It was just, Scotland was a whole different animal, and you ain't taming that beast. You are just surviving with it, which was also a really good chance for me to see how some of my kit was performing in the more extreme end of weather. So this jacket that I've got on now, I thought it was waterproof, which it is to a very light degree. This is a windbreaker jacket, opposed to a full Gore-Tex jacket. So I learnt my lesson on that. I got absolutely soaked. I had waterproof trousers on, which were proper waterproof trousers, and they actually failed, and I was drenched, like soaked through by the end. Luckily, when my trousers failed, it was on the way down, so I wasn't frozen at the top. I was quite warm at the top. The only issue I had was my gloves had failed. Again, they were meant to be waterproof, and they failed and just absorbed up all of the water going up the hill. So when we got to the top, when we got to the summit, my gloves were frozen. I thought I was going to get frostbite. It was not a fun time. I couldn't hold my walking pole. I had to put my wrist through the wrist strap and rest my hand on top and move it like this along, and had to alternate between hands so I could try and move my fingers to try and get some blood back into them. So yeah, that was not really a fun time at that point. The weird thing was, I was really expecting to struggle with this. This was the highest mountain I've currently done, which was 13,000 meters. Well, that is a world record for a tall mountain there. It was 1,345 meters. So that was the tallest mountain I've currently done. And it was a jump of 300 meters from my last tallest peak. So I was a little bit on the more apprehensive side of like, I'm going to struggle with this, because I did struggle with Cut Onto Hill, up Devil's Ladder, and I did struggle with Scaffold Pike. And I don't exactly know what happened, but it was like I just had so much energy. Like, I did not struggle at all with this mountain. I was just up the top, and I was like, don't start getting ahead of yourself, Oliver. And I respect the mountain. Don't think this is going to be easy. And we hit the summit, and I felt great. And I was just like, well, I don't know what's going on here. And it's down to all the training I've been doing in between mountains, and on top of the training in the mountains as well, which I'm really starting to see now pay off massively, because I was really proud of myself for how much work I've put in to mountain climbing since I've started this challenge, and how I've seen my fitness progress from that, because I was worried about how, like, the people that were on the course saying, you know, how much they've done, and there were quite a few people saying like they've done Kilimanjaro and all this, and I was like, well, this is a massive step down from Kilimanjaro, and 4,000 like meter peaks in the Alps and all this, and I was like, well, I think I'm going to be the most unfit person here. And it was a very strange experience to see, like, there are quite a few people that had done the Kilimanjaro summit were really, really struggling with Ben Nevis, which in my mind I couldn't really understand. But a lot of people were struggling with this summit push that we were doing. So it did feel really good to be full of energy, clear head, not bumbling around, and just pushing all the way to the summit and arriving at the top feeling really good. So that was a really nice feeling. And then got down from the mountain. This was another achievement I like to pat myself on the back for, because I did not fall over coming down this mountain, which I was expecting. But yeah, we didn't hit the floor. Had a few little slips, but we didn't fall over. And it was just the heavens opened. We got a cat. Thank you, Loki. But the heavens opened, and it was just so wet. And this is where my waterproof trousers failed, and it went straight through my hiking trousers into my thermals, and then it just dumped all the water into my boots. And it was a fun time getting down, because it was just so wet. But we got down, did that, went to the pub after, right in the evening after dinner, and a really nice experience with a couple of the guys which wanted to come to the pub as well. So yeah, drinking proper drinks, Scottish whiskey, the water of life, as they call it. But yeah, that was really good. And then the next day, we were due to be doing the mountaineering sort of skills part, where we were going to go out and learn how to sort of self-arrest of ice axes, and learn about how to gauge like avalanche risks, and all of that sort of like skills part. In the morning, I came down because I put all my kit in the dry room to get it to dry out overnight. Was not dry at all. It was like I just left it outside. It just did not dry. So I was like, I can't. It was a choice. Like, I was like, I can't come out because my clothes are soaked through. And with the weather warning, we were going to have to climb to about 1,000 meters to get to some snow. But overnight, the temperature didn't drop to below zero. So it had just been raining straight on the snow, and they were like, we don't know the conditions of the snow. We might get there and it's just going to be slush, and we just have to turn around. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And I was like, look, but I'm going to sit this one out because my clothes are not in a good way. My boots are still soaking wet. And one of the leaders actually was like, I think you've made a good call with that, because I think we're going to get there and we're going to turn around. And that's exactly what happened. They got to the car park. The weather was so bad that they just looked and they were like, we're calling it the mountain rescue. We're in the car park, and they were like, I wouldn't even bother with this. So they turned around, and we just they ran some workshops for us when they got back, and rope work, tying yourself into harnesses correctly. TJ gave a big talk on all the kit he had for 8,000 meter peaks, which was very interesting, and just goes to show how much money that kit costs. He didn't have all of it with him, and what was on the floor came to about 10 grand. So it is not a cheap endeavor to follow. But overall, I really enjoyed that weekend with Elite expeds, and came away with some very, very good contacts for the rest of Project World Summit. I'm now kind of got my foot in the door with the elite guys, and who have also got my details, and I've got their number. So I'm pretty on the way to the bigger peaks. I feel like I'm in good hands, and you know, like TJ said, like I can message him whenever if I've got any questions about anything in the challenge I'm doing. And it was really cool that Elite are really interested in the challenge, the project, should I say, that I'm currently working on. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing more things in the future with them. And yeah, we got a little certificate as well at the end, just to say, you know, we've done Ben Nevis, done the Winter Skills course, and yeah, a really cool little memento, I would say, to finish the weekend off. Again, I really wish my camera had been around on the last day, because the weather just, it always happens on the last day. The weather was beautiful. Sun came out, everything cleared up, and I could really take in the surroundings where we're staying, and it was stunning. And I really wish my camera was working so I could have got a load of photos of that. But you know, it is what it is. It's happened. It's given me some very good pointers for the project, again, regarding getting the proper raincoat, like Gore-Tex, and better trousers. There's my cat setting off another cat toy, which sounds like a bird. Anyway, that is that. Thank you for watching this video for the 9th peak of the project. I really appreciate all of you supporting me in this outrageous project, and if you haven't already, I would really appreciate a subscription to the channel, because it helps me out massively going forward.